Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are talking about the M10 American vehicle known as the Booker. Yes, many of you have seen many videos about this, I'm sure, on YouTube already, so I'm not going to do a video on it because it is just flooded with M10 Booker information, and I'm sure a lot of you have already researched into it, but what I'd like to talk a little bit about today is this phenomenon of people thinking that the concept or the principle of the M10 Booker being this light roll, quote, tank is new, and it's new doctrine to the US military, and it's also, up to date with the modern style of armored warfare, and it's really not. This is just something that has been labeled to help promote this vehicle in its entirety, and I respect that. I respect the American military defense system and war machine speaking about a new vehicle in such broad terms and saying this thing is, state-of-the-art, able to do so much, and it is. It really is. It's a great bit of kit. As I said, lots of videos to go check out if you want to learn the intricacies of the M10 Booker. But for myself, this isn't new. This isn't fancy, somebody saying this is changing the definition of armored fighting warfare for the US military, and it's just really not. We have the Striker platform that uses the 105mm gun, self-loading. Certainly not the same context. We have a wheeled and a tracked vehicle, but the principle of armored fighting warfare together with that kind of system isn't new, it isn't fancy, and it's not something the US military has not provided before. It's just this platform, the M10 Booker, is a lot more specific to armored combat than it is, say, to speak, the Striker, which has its own ups and downs, and I know a lot of people have used that platform, have their hesitancy in saying it's a really good vehicle to go against armor. It's more sort of a light roll infantry support, which is kind of what the M10 Booker is, which is why I'm really trying to understand the rhetoric that's going behind this new platform. And for myself, I don't quite see the M10 Booker as being this, epicenter of light armor roll capability. I really do feel that there's other platforms out there, and one in particular speaks to me very well, as you probably will know, the CV90. Yes, the CV90 platform, I do have my bias to. I was able to work and be alongside BAE Systems Hägglunds to, be around the vehicle, but the Swedish CV90120, which is a 120mm gun on top of a light roll vehicle, truly, I think, outclasses the M10 Booker. It really does. And it's just my personal opinion. We're not going to go into the intricacies here. We are just going to go a general overview of why I personally feel the CV90-120 is going to work a lot better if the military was able to select it. For instance, myself, if I was selecting an armored fighting vehicle in the role that's trying to get that light roll, armored infantry support, if there was armor that came in and attacked, say, infantry fighting vehicles, the CV90-120 is the vehicle I would pick. Now, armored fighting vehicles, as we all know, represent the backbone of modern military forces. They provide that essential mobility, that protection, and the firepower on the battlefield. In recent years, though, of course, these two significant contenders have been back and forth with the global stage, which is that CV90-120 and the M10 Booker. Now, while both vehicles offer advanced features and capabilities, a closer examination reveals really that the 120 holds a bit of a competitive edge over its American counterpart. Now, what I'm going to delve into is the details of most of the parts of this vehicle, highlighting the superior attributes that it has in terms of firepower, mobility, survivability, and overall operational versatility. So let's talk about firepower. Well, it's pretty obvious. CV90 is boasting that 120mm smoothbore cannon and a formidable piece of firepower renowned for its range, accuracy, and firepower. In contrast, the M10 Booker, which is equipped with that 105mm main gun, the larger caliber of the CV90-120 provides significant advantage in engaging and neutralizing armored targets at long distances, which, if you're going to say an armored fighting vehicle has to support the infantry, if you're not going to pick a main battle tank like the Abrams and you want something in between, I'm not too sure why the 105 is really going to be the way you want to go. You're not going to be able to penetrate heavier duty armor that's out there. The 105 is definitely a very prominent round, a very good projectile, but if we're going against peer-to-peer engagements, it's not quite there. This additional firepower enhances the CV90-120's efficiency in a variety of different combat scenarios, including tank-on-tank engagement. Now, of course, CV90-120, nor the M10 Booker, is going to be able to resist combat engagements with peer-to-peer tanks or armor. It's going to get knocked out. It does not have the armor capability to stop 120mm projectiles or 125mm, and we all know where that's coming from. This gives it, though, a superior choice in terms of raw offensive capabilities if it was to support armoured infantry. In terms of mobility, the CV90-120 really does demonstrate really good mobility. I have driven the CV90 and I can safely say it drives phenomenally. It really does. It has a very robust power-to-weight ratio, an extremely good suspension system, and exceptional maneuverability. Its agile design allows it swift navigation across various different terrains, including the rugged terrain of landscape or even urban environments, because it does have those rubberized tracks if necessary. On the other hand, though, while the M10 Booker is designed for deployability and agility, its weight and size could potentially sometimes limit its maneuverability in certain terrains. Now, the M10 Booker is in itself designed to be carried on aircraft to be quickly deployed with light roll forces. The CV90120 is no different, but it does have quicker response times due to the fact that the vehicle has already been destined across most of NATO, especially in the European world, to be put onto the logistics stream of where these things need to go, whether it's trains, aircraft, etc., which responds faster for troops needing them on the battlefield, especially when you're working with infantry, which are normally going to be the spearhead that can be quickly deployed in a light roll, whether it be via aircraft or railheads, etc. Now, the Booker is very close to the CV90 here. There isn't a huge amount of difference, in all honesty. They're very similar to, a decisive advantage in the way in which they can be put into a dynamic battlefield. But I do feel that CV90 in its lower profile configuration, because the Booker is fairly similar in its configuration of height, but it's a little bit chunkier, therefore a little bit more difficult to place onto trains, etc. In terms of survivability, the CV90-120 is built with an advanced composite armor, providing very high levels of protection against a wide range of threats, including ATGMs, rocket-propelled grenades, and other armor-piercing rounds. Modular design allows it for easy upgrades and modifications, adapting to evolving threats in modern warfare. In comparison, the M10 Booker, while boasting its own protective features which are very, very good, it might actually face challenges in keeping up with the rapidly changing nature of the contemporary threats due to its heavier weight and design constraints. When you design something that is designed to just be a vehicle of that particular configuration, it inherently has its own difficulties in trying to change configurations or upgrade it. CV90 has always been put in a place where it can be easily configured into what you want it to be. Let's say for all of a sudden you want to take the 120mm turret off and change it with something else. CV90 and BAE Systems, as they design the CV90, create it in a way that it can easily do that. So if you don't want a 120mm gun on there anymore, it'd be fairly easy to retrofit and upgrade or downgrade into the particular variant you want. With the Booker, not as easy to do. In terms of operational versatility, the CV90 stands out for its versatility and adaptability on the battlefield. It's designed to accommodate a range of mission modules, enabling it to fulfill various roles, such as troop transport, command vehicle, mortar carrier, anti-aircraft platform, etc. The M10, while very versatile in its own right, leads towards providing just armoured support and has a very narrow scope of operational adaptability compared to the CV90-120. The latter's ability to swiftly transform serves a very diverse mission objectives, underscores its superiority in operational versatility, giving the CV90-120 the ability to turn into whatever it wants to. I have to admit though, the Booker, although standardized in its configuration, does have the advantage of being truly refined, so to speak, to that role. It's great making something modular and something that can be changed out, but the Booker in itself has been specifically designed for a purpose, and a very good purpose. It's kind of like that statement of, jack of all trades, master of none. That's true, but it's better to be a jack of all trades and a master of none than being just completely centralized into one specific thing that may not have actually been able to upgrade or change the future, and that's how I see it anyway. The CV90 and the American M10 Booker really represent cutting-edge armoured fighting vehicles. These two are very good contenders and set their own advantages and capabilities for one another. However, when I look at a more comprehensive analysis of the respective attributes, personally, I really do feel the CV90-120 holds that competitive edge in terms of firepower. More so a little bit more on the survivability front. I would personally think that in terms of mobility also, really difficult to tell on the survivability front. The M10 probably has a very strong armored package that's a lot more upgradable if necessary. The M10 has a lot of storage space on there. It's fairly low profile overall, but that firepower is just, to me, letting it down. It would be really interesting to see the 120 on there. Of course, the Abrams takes that spectrum, but it's a bigger vehicle, a lot heavier vehicle. The CV90-120 gives you that armored support if necessary that can only take out small light-skinned vehicles, but can punch if necessary against heavy armored targets. Of course, though, you know, this is a very difficult context overall because I've never used the M10, never looked at it in depth. There's a lot of good information out there, but it's also quite juvenile in how, you know, early it's been produced. It's not been put in any combat scenarios really as of yet. I would like to do a lot more research on this vehicle and see what's coming up of it. As I said, lots of videos already existing out there, some really good information if you want to learn more about the M10, and of course there is also videos about the CV90120. But in my comparison, and what I personally believe, and I can't wait for the comments section on this one, I think the CV90120 is certainly the contender that I would have picked if I was given the choice between these two vehicles. Thank you so much for watching today. Let me know your opinion on this vehicle. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below, of course, both negative and positive. Hopefully constructive criticism, considering some of you take this very personally. But I'd love to hear your opinion regardless. And also, let me know what your choice would be. If you were to pick your own light roll armored vehicle, what would it be? You know, either old school or modernized variant. What would you like to have that's supporting your infantry fighting vehicles if they had to come across light or heavy armor in the combat scenario that they're in? Thank you again for watching. Feel free to check out my description box for my links to my Patreon, my PayPal, and of course my clothing sponsor brand that I sponsor. And I also have my Facebook and Instagram that you can feel free to follow on there. Also, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you around soon. Take care. Bye-bye.